Another A1 in the books, and despite the snooze fest at the front of the 450 main, there were a lot of surprises, good and bad, through the rest of the night show. Let's take a look at the ups and the downs from Anaheim as part of this RotoMoto React brought to you by O'Neal. Starting with the 250 class, the first upvote goes to rookie sensation Julien Beaumer, collecting 2 great starts on his way to leading the first main event lap of his pro career. Another thumbs up goes to the Red Bull KTM squad and Daniel Blair for bringing Juju into the Orange Brigade fold. Once considered a powerhouse with the likes of Jordan Smith and Shane McElrath half a decade ago, the KTM squad has missed on many prospects since, but Blair's first big signing since taking a bigger role with KTM squad has been a major success. On the 250 flip side, our first down of the night goes to Joe Shimoda. Unfortunately, the Joe Show still can't help himself from making those little mistakes, first with a crash in the heat race that caused him to get a lackluster gate pick in the main, and a poor start there caused him to spend the entire main playing catch-up. He did manage to salvage a 4th on the night to stay in the title fight, but not the night that 30 was looking for on his red reunion. Thumbs up has to go to Maximus Volan for winning the opening heat race of his 2024 campaign and riding the best we have ever seen him indoors. The red cross flag definitely puts a damper on his night, as he was very timid through that section, no doubt worrying about the implications of a penalty on what could have been his first Supercross podium. Both Joe and eventual 3rd place finisher Levi Kitchen took advantage of Volan in that section by towing the line of the red cross rules, but I think Volan's 5th shows that he does have podium speed. Thumbs down goes to Nate Thrasher and his likely broken collarbone. I was high on Thrasher coming in as the career leader in 250 wins racing the West Coast this year, but Nate was off pace all day, qualifying 6th and a distant 3rd in his heat behind Smith and Hampshire. Nate was 4th at the end of the first lap before getting passed by Smith and Volan, and Ryder D quickly approaching. Thrasher did end up pulling it together midway through and was actually reeling in the 2 Pro Circuit teammates before an awkward tumble over the hip wall may have ended his season. It has been a rough couple of years for Nate after a lightning start to his pro racing career, and the final thumbs up in the 250 class goes to none other than RJ Hampshire, a dominant win by the 11-year veteran. Rick has been far and wide the fastest man on the track. In fact, his first 10 laps, he averaged a 103.74 lap time, which is better than every single other rider's single best lap time. He absolutely dominated the first 3 sections of the track, especially segment 2, the whoops. Volant had 3 runs under 11 seconds in the main. Smith had 2, Shimoda, Kitchen, and Ryder D and Thrasher each won. 8 of RJ's first 10 laps were under 11 seconds to get through both set of whoops and both corners. It is his title to lose if he can stay on 2. Kicking off the 450 class with a thumbs up, obviously, for Jet Lawrence. Not going to talk too much about this one. Webb did rattle him in the first lap of his heat race, and he decided to just ride a smart race to get a solid gate pick. And then in the main, he quickly blocks Anderson and gets out before Jason can retaliate, sprints for a few laps, and manages down the stretch. Par for the course for what we've seen from Jet thus far. But another thumbs up has to go to Jason Anderson for keeping little Lawrence honest the entire main. The final deficit of 7.2 seconds does not tell the story. 2.5 minutes into the main, Jet held just a 1.2 second lead over Anderson, and 13.5 minutes later, Anderson was still just 1.7 seconds back. It wasn't until Webb makes contact with Ombre on lap 16 that the 21 had to start racing defensively, and that dropped his pace. An unlikely thumbs down goes to Chase Sexton, or more accurately, his KTM. Getting through A1 quietly and ending up on the podium should be a win for the defending champ camp, but the splits tell a harrowing story. Of the 13 seconds that Chase finished behind Jet, you can count 8 of those seconds from the second split alone, which was the whoop section. To put it bluntly, 60% of Chase's gap happened on just 20% of the track, and it is what the fans have feared. The KTM is still having trouble in the whoops, and you cannot afford to give up that much time in just one crucial section of the track, especially with small whoops this weekend. But it is not all bad at KTM. Despite all odds, Chase's teammate Aaron Plessinger finished with the fastest run through the 2 sets of whoops on the 3rd lap of the 450 main, and that deserves a big thumbs up for our favorite cowboy in the pits. Another quick thumbs up to Barrick Suzuki's Derek Drake. It wasn't just Jet debuting in the 450 this weekend. Drake came in completely ignored and underrated and qualified for his first 450 main event on his very first try, straight out of a stacked heat, eventually finishing 15th, just half a second a lap off the pace of reigning world champion Jorge Prado. Jorge does get a thumb sideways tonight as he finished just about where I expected. Good starts and minimized mistakes, but getting eaten up up by the whoops, setting the next to worst fastest run through the section of the race. But a guy that gets a bona fide thumbs down, unfortunately, is our returning king, Eli Tomac. When he qualified worst on his team, I said, hey, he's just not that worried about qualifying coming back from injury. When he rode the heat home in fourth, I said he just doesn't want to push it in a meaningless heat race just for a gate pick at A1. But his main event performance was just the Eli of old, and I do not mean that as a compliment. Sure, he is coming back from an incredibly difficult Achilles injury, but there is no way he or the Star Racing camp thought he would be rolling around lonely the whole night, getting chased down and gapped by his rookie teammate Justin Cooper late. He was competitive for the first 6 laps, putting down a 103 flat on lap 5, but he quickly fell to the 105s 3 laps later, and eventually running 3 109s in the last 4 laps, slower than guys like McElrath, Hill, Drake, and Prado. From lap 7 on, Justin Cooper was faster every single circuit, averaging over a second faster in each lap. Maybe Eli was being conservative, maybe it was arm pump, but either way, everyone on the planet knows Eli did not come back to roll around just one section from getting lapped. And despite his infamous Alito Mac performances of the past, I don't think we have ever seen something from him quite like this. We'll end this on a thumbs up, and that is on to Dylan Ferrandis, often pigeonholed as an outdoor guy. Many forget the 14 had 2 podiums in his first 2 years in the Premier class before dealing with injuries. It was a very quiet 5th place performance, but you have to imagine he and the team are behind the 8 ball on setup, having the least time on the bike of any of the guys fighting for top 10s. Dylan's ideal lap time was only 2 seconds flat from his average lap time, making him the most consistent rider on the track last night by a long shot. If he can somehow buy a start, it will be interesting to see if the 14 can run with the fast guys this year. Special shout out to Roxon, Malcolm, and especially Justin Cooper for a miraculous comeback from each of them after a first lap pileup to salvage an 8th, 10th, and 11th respectively. Other than Jet winning his first Supercross race, who were you most impressed with at the A1 opener? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more breaking news and analysis like this as the year rolls on. Thanks as always for watching RotoMoto. My name is Donnie. Keep it pinned to the weekend.